And we are live? Yes, we are. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. Vlogcast that comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. Vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect, and honestly, I completely forgot that I had to rearrange everybody's name on the screen, and those of you that are listening, you're probably going, what did you do? I messed up. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Part of this is to follow through with the old adage that sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm your main host. I'm known as Shujin, and you can find me pretty much everywhere under that name. That's Shujin. There's a thing that's going on right at the moment. I'll give you real quick and dirty. We are, at the moment, just the two of us on tonight. So, from the Midwest of the U.S., Brigid Fitch, who is apparently not dealing with tornadoes right now, I don't believe, because I didn't hear anything through your
No,
microphone. Hi.
I'm not. Hi. It's actually pretty calm now. We are under like a flash flood watch tomorrow, which is no big deal. I mean, right now it's nice and clear. It's 23°C. It's kinda humid, but not too bad.
That's not so
So
bad.
no tornadoes here. It's not pluvious. That will be tomorrow night.
Nah, not a worries. And yeah, and I'm just trying to reorganize because my microphone is a little bit on the low side. I'm readjusting that, and I apologize for that. So, a couple of pieces. I did get word from UnrenownedTech. He's otherwise going to be unavailable this week. Hope you're having yourself a good time, man. Screw you too. And for the time being, that's going to be about it.
Well,
So,
if he's out having fun with plans, I want what he's having.
yeah, I know.
'Cause ain't
If
nothing going on here but, like, Skyrim, and that game's, like, what, I don't know, 15 years old or something?
but is it
And
still
I'm trying to
fun?
get this one simple mod because 'cause I've never used mods with it before, to work, and I cannot figure out how to get it to work, and I'm just annoyed.
Yeah, no. I've got this one mod that I'm trying to work with, Pal World, that's supposed to unlock the technology tree.
Mhm.
Doesn't want to work.
Mine's just for a simple quest pointer on this one quest that I have been beating myself over the head with for days. You have to find these 24 objects. And I found 23 of them, and I've gone to everything on the list, and I cannot find that 24th one.
Yeah, I get
And
that
this mod
feeling.
would point me to the waypoint where I need to go. But no, can't get it to work. There's one on Steam and there's one on Nexus Mods, and I can't get either one of them to cooperate with me.
Well, it sounds like it's time to go ahead and take a pickaxe to somebody.
The creator of the mod or the person on Steam who added one on there too? I mean, I
Uh,
don't know.
for anecdotal reasons, I'll say
Both? Why not both?
sure. For legal reasons, I'll say sure. Because nobody would believe me, or should. It's the Fox News defense that I'm using. So, hi, good to be back with you. Um, I apologize for not doing a show last week. There were, as you can probably imagine, reasons. The complete full reason of it all is because of some nuclear fallout. I'm speaking metaphorically, of course, unless I'm not, in which case, y'all can try to figure it out for yourselves. If I start glowing in the dark, uh, I don't know, man. So, we are here. As always, if you'd like to join us as we're doing this live, you can tune in over there on YouTube when I can get my ass in gear in order to do this all, and be over there in the live chat, which, at the moment, Stephanie, hi, good morning. It's good to see you. Yeah, sorry about that. Last week was a wash for reasons. Brigid knows why. The rest of y'all probably wouldn't know and probably don't really need to know. Just know full well that, yeah, there were reasons. Were they get reasons? They were reason enough. That's all. So, yeah, topic-wise tonight, and don't worry, I'm not jumping ahead of anything. For those of you that, for whatever reason, are unaware of the news articles and whatnot that are going on for tonight's topic, I just want to preface the whole thing with something that I saw on social media as I was, getting myself reorganized. He sent the National Guard to protect this goddamn swimming pool from people who he claims are vandalizing it by taking big flakes, hubcap-sized flakes of blue paint that are floating in the water.
Yeah, I saw that in Newsweek. Oh my God.
No, some people have also pointed out it's the environmental thing to do because any wildlife, waterfowl, that would end up landing in it would mistake it for something edible and
Hmm.
get sick and die. Like I said, I'm not trying to jump ahead on this one. I want folks to remember this is where we are, and this is why we're going to end up talking about the crap that we're going to end up talking about. So I'm going to get my part started because we got the new horrible scopes in place. Don't worry about last week's. Last week's you didn't miss much. It was a retread from a little while ago. It was a fun one, but it was still a retread, so it's all entirely new. And I will go ahead and I will say I did have to cut corners a little bit because I ran out of time. That's what
Before
happens.
you get into your 5-minute freestyle, I have to ask the title for the show tonight.
Hmm.
Is that a nod to Robin Sparkles?
Is it in reference to whom and what now?
Robin Sparkles.
Go ahead, explain it to everybody.
He did the video eons ago called Let's Go to the Mall. I take it
Specifically,
that's not.
specifically, no, that wasn't it. The one that was actually going through my head was the song and dance. If you went to the movies, once upon a time ago, let's all go to the movies. That's about as far as I'm gonna go.
Oh, you did that. Robin Sparkles did one. It was Let's Go to the Mall.
It wasn't that.
I'll have to link the video, and I can't sing, so please excuse me.
No, no, that's actually good because then we don't have to worry about getting a DMCA strike. So
That what? That I can't sing? Yeah, that's good.
that,
You're
the fact that
welcome.
actually the fact that I actually did it something approaching like on pitch now makes me worried that I'm gonna have to defend us again.
5 seconds. I don't think so.
Probably not.
You're good.
Be that as it may. Um. Yeah. Yeah. Stephanie's pointing out very correctly and accurately. I'm not going to read it now because it's going to be leading the bit, but know for well, you're right on target, and don't worry, we'll get to that. So let me go ahead and get us started over here. Your 5-minute freestyle, and it's queued up. It's going to start right about now. Metacognition. Wow. Okay, it's a big word, and I, generally speaking, don't like anything that starts off with the word meta, especially if that's the entirety of the word. Believe it or not, that joke is actually germane in this particular case, although why, I'm not going to exactly explain. So one of the things that I had to deal with kind of recently, and reminding y'all, we are pretty much to the end of the school year out here in my section of New York, and pretty much all of New York State. So, I end up dealing with some people who are getting rid of, school supplies that are no longer needed. And some of these people are teachers. And it brings me back to the earliest point in my college career, which, might I remind you, spanned an entire whopping 3 semesters. No, I did not get a degree. I came away with the love of my life. I didn't get a degree. One of the things, and I don't remember it having this term, was to learn something that is an incredibly old conceptual problem for someone that wants to be a teacher. It's what this term is now, metacognition. Understanding, learning how we learn. Now, there's always the whole, I'm a visual learner, I'm a tactile learner, I'm an auditory learner, I'm a verbal learner. It's not a matter of those parts. It's a matter of how do we take in and process the data, and how do we churn it into something digestible by our minds. And, of course, reminding you, the brain is... Well, the brain is not the mind. The mind is what the brain does. We are... Well, we're not just that, 2 kilograms of fat. We are what it does. And again, the example that's always been out there is legs are legs. They are appendages. What they do is run. The brain is a brain. What it does is the mind. So how do we process information that we get and turn it into usable information? That's a hard concept. I mean, it's easy to think, well, you just read something and then, you remember it and you put it into practice. That's all well and good, except the question is, what happens in between the time when the photons hit your eyeball and you read whatever it is that's written and then put those concepts together? The number 0 has so much information behind it that we don't even conceptualize it as a day-to-day thing because it's just there. It's just part of its being. It is what it is. But there is an entire framework of mathematical solutions and problem solving and logical beings that are part of that it's just part of what it is. And you don't even think about it. Because you don't. It just is. Trying to figure out how we learn things is a difficult concept, especially when you're trying to do it for yourself. I kind of had to learn a little something about that for myself because I ended up having to deal with a problem that had me spinning my wheels really, really hard. And I thought that I knew where I was going, how I was supposed to get from point A to point B in concepts. But the problem was the way that I wanted to go about it and the way that the solutions were trying to get into me, they didn't work. For what I wanted, for what I needed, the solutions, the answers to my questions weren't what was getting fed to me. And it made it harder and harder and harder for me to accept what was going on. Children go through the same thing. So if you end up with a child or someone who is unaware on a topic that you know, if they seem to be getting frustrated, seem to be asking the same questions over and over and over again, and you feel like you're dropping right back into the same answer over and over and over again, take a step back from it all. Go sideways. I'm trying to give you an answer that I think fits. What answer are you trying to get to? And let's understand why you're trying to get to the answer that you're trying to get to, and why I'm giving you the answer that I'm giving you. And then bridge the gap between those two pieces. I got news for you. It ain't easy. So, as we finish off the new school year, all you teachers, especially the ones for the youngsters, we're dealing with exactly that problem. Thank you for continuing to do that job because, damn, that has got to be incredibly frustrating. You're respected. Thank you. I know that went a little bit long, but grand scheme of things, man, I cannot tell you. I cannot tell you how frustrated it was for me trying to understand and not being able to get to what I needed to in order to fill in the gaps for myself. Man, it it sucks. And the worst part about the whole damn thing is realizing after the fact that I let my I'd let my frustration get at me so much that it's just I gotta hammer this home. I gotta hammer this home. I gotta hammer this home. I'll get to the answer that I need in order to move on if I just keep hammering this home. Just hammer this. You know, some days I just feel like I'm an idiot.
But you're not.
It took you friggin' long enough to get there. Thanks. Appreciate that.
I told you I'm having issues.
That's fair enough. That's fair
No,
enough.
you're anything but an idiot.
After I finally took that step back to try and figure out how do I bridge the gap between these two disparate pieces of information that I'm trying to get fed to me versus what I think I should be getting at, or I should say what I and scare quotes know I should be getting answers, and how to bridge those two. Man,
Well, at least you're doing it. That's something that's beyond me right now. It's really frustrating.
I get you.
Yeah,
I get you.
Brigid is not on her game and hasn't been for a while, and there's not really much that Brigid can do about it. So,
Well,
yeah, thank you to the HCTV fam for putting up with me.
nothing to worry about. Besides, look at it this way. Now you just get to kind of relax. And whatever comes falling out of your face is perfectly fine because, well, chances are it's probably going to be exactly the right thing. You get to be behaving as if you're drunk. You don't have to
Well,
think
it's
about it.
yeah, I don't have to think about it. It's just I'm having a hard time um articulating and communicating, and it just is what it is, and I don't know if this is going to be permanent or not. So,
You think I'm any much better? Jesus, woman, you have no idea. This took 10 years to try to put back together again. All right, I'm not trying to scare you or nothing. I'm just saying that okay, even if there's a thing and it's going to take a bit, we'll get you. I'll hold your hand if necessary. Figuratively
yeah,
speaking, of course.
I don't know, probably I need a speech therapist or some rehabilitation or something, but that's just not in my grasp right now. So, unless I started GoFundMe or something, and I don't even know how to go about doing that, and I'm just mm, not doing it.
Piece at a time when we get there.
Yeah. No, that's what happens when you don't have insurance and you don't have any income. It just is. So,
That's fair.
Stephanie, yeah, hi.
So, how about we see what we can do about putting a smile on a face? How about we
Okay.
go ahead and we deal with the horrible scopes? Those of you that know
Yeah.
what your astrological signs are, cool. If you don't, you can figure it out any way that you'd like to. You could use random.org. They do not support us because I don't think they support anybody, so it's just a thing. Or, go out, get yourself a D12. Local game store could use a couple of bucks. Just saying. Now, if you've been paying attention to the last couple of scopes that have come out, you will notice that there's been a bit of a running theme recently, specifically cartoons. By the time this scope goes out there for every pony to read, the Second Life birthday party will be in full swing, which it has just started as of Thursday. And part of this show is the Second Life birthday show, I should say, is going to be a collection of Saturday morning cartoon themes, and that's going to be one that I'm going to be hosting next week, Saturday. Don't worry, I'll make sure that there are group notices so that everybody can tune if they'd like to. So, folks are going to be dressed appropriately for the cavalcade of chaos that it's going to be. So, for your scopes, I pressed shuffle play on a new filtered collection of cartoon themes, and we're going to see who gets what theme. So get your sugar frosted choco bombs ready to eat, and cereal first, milk second. No orange juice in that bowl. There are standards here, you know. Yeah, there's some people who think that orange juice is acceptable for cereal. No,
No, no,
no,
it clashes.
no. Don't do that. Aries. So we're gonna talk about a classic here. We're gonna start off 1973's Speed Buggy, which is a super weird Scooby-Doo knockoff with 3 humans and 1 sentient dune buggy. It's one of a huge number of ripoffs, all from the same main company too. And the voice of Speed Buggy, you know who this is. It is the man of 1,000 voices, a one Mr. Mel Blanc. So this week, he created that voice live on the Jack Benny radio show back in 1937. So keep a lookout for old ideas and how you might be able to use it in crafting something new. By the by, before we get past this, the reason Mel Blanc created that voice, 1937, live on the air, they're doing the radio show, the comedy show for Jack Benny, and they're all standing up there on stage with microphones, in front of them, reading their scripts, and Mel looks over at the guys doing the sound effects and realizing the record player that they were going to use with the car sound effect on it, they didn't plug it into the wall for power. So he knew there was not going to be a sound effect for the 1904 Maxwell that he's supposed to be driving. So,
Hmm.
quick as a wink, boy came up with that sound effect for this really wheezing car. And, 40 years later, there's Speed Buggy.
Hmm. I used to watch that too.
So
Taurus.
did I.
Oh, oops. Looks like a webtoon series made its way into the collection. Yes, we'll play the ball where it lies on this one. From the show Hell of a Boss, you've been selected to get 2 minutes notice. A song as performed by Fizzaroli explaining why he's quitting the show right now. Well, once the song is over, anyway. So this week, if you're looking to make an exit from a job you really hate that's sucking the life out of you, and you still want to make a clear statement to everyone how you feel, Just pack up all your stuff at the end of the work week, but leave a red squig line stapler on your desk. But have the new job lined up in advance.
Some people will have to have it explained to them. They're the ones that need to be called. Gemini, jumping way back, 1968. You've been gifted, I'm using that word, a weird one, a cartoon adaptation of the movie, which itself was a poor adaptation of the novel Fantastic Voyage by Isaac Asimov. We don't know what his thoughts of the cartoon series were. It's about people being shrunk to microscopic sizes to combat national threat enemies, but it's 1968, man. It's all kinds of trippy. So this week, if you're shrunk to microscopic levels, how long do you think it would take you to fly across a small room? Don't try to make heads or tails of these equations. You're just going to hurt yourself.
I didn't see the cartoon, but the movie was just awful. Cancer My Child. You all remember the cartoons for Peanuts, like all the holiday specials on CBS? Well, you're not getting the main theme, but instead a specific winter track called Skating. It's a lightweight, breezy, jazzy piece that only really needs a trio or a quartet to entertain a whole room full of partygoers. So this week, if you have to do a group project for the summer, try to work with only 4 people. It's easier to split a large pizza that way.
Yeah, we were
That's
talking
true.
about this, by the way. You know how you can get those do-it-yourself unroll it out of the carton pack pizza dough. You can make your own pizzas at home.
Mhm.
Apparently, one of them has nutrition information on it. The serving size, the serving size that's listed on it is 1/5 of a pizza.
How do you cut it into fifths?
We don't know. The only thing that we could come up with, actually, Dalan had suggested, maybe what we need is just an oversized slap chop, and just fit it with a specialized blade. I, however, did point out that this sounds too much like you're trying to make a summoning circle with it, but if that were to work, I'd be on board. Leo,
Wow, cutting it into fifths, that's just weird.
yeah, it's just all kinds of wrong. Leo, there has been a bunch of cartoons with a similar premise, like Dynamut Dog Wonder, but you're getting the inferior human remake, Inspector Gadget. Yes, he got a movie, or two if we're being incredibly generous about it. That's not the weirdest part about this whole idea, because you also had Automan. That is still not the worst connection. So this week, we're going to warn you not to do this, but we know how you are. You're going to go ahead and you're going to do it anyway. Do not look up a 1970s buddy cop series called Holmes and Yo-Yo. It was, in a word, bad. Don't come bitching to us about how bad it was. We're warned.
Virgo. When you want a voice like Paul Lynde, most famously from Hollywood Squares, and you want him for a cartoon series, you should pay the man, right? Well, they didn't bother. Got someone to try to sound like him, and now we got Samurai Pizza Cats. What's the premise of the show? No idea. The disconnect from the original Japanese show and the Americanized one makes Battle of the Planets look like Shakespearean opera compared to Gotcha Man. So this week, when you need things done right, like translations, don't rely on automated translation services. Hire someone who actually knows what they're talking about and pay them well.
This one was specifically written for a buddy of mine who, unfortunately, because of the way that things worked out, he was planning on spending a year in Florence learning. Unfortunately, things didn't happen, so maybe he'll be able to do it next year. But he knows several languages. And his thing was translating technical manuals. Smart guy.
Mm.
Libra, you want to stand for truth, justice, and peace for all mankind. But most of your team is an alien. And how's that working out for you? And before anybody starts getting upset, this is canonically true. Your cartoon series is The World's Greatest Super Friends. It's the first follow-up to Super Friends, meaning they replaced Wendy, Marvin, and Wonder Dog with Zan, Jaina, and Gleek, the Wonder Twins. The only actual non-aliens in the Hall of Justice were Batman and Robin. So this week, anybody ever wonder what languages should have been represented here? 'Cause English, Themyscirian, Atlantean, Kryptonian, plus whatever Zen and Jaina spoke, and that damn space monkey, he spoke like a Pokemon. Prove me wrong.
Oh, I spoke like a monkey.
He spoke
Maybe a
like a
monkey Pokemon?
Pokemon. He was Gleek, 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 Gleek. He was a Pokemon.
I'm still going to go with monkey Pokemon.
Go ahead.
Scorpio. Another cartoon from the 70s, another import that was butchered Japanese tune, and the worst part of this is how few people appreciate it. Your cartoon series is Voltron Defender of the Universe, aka the one with the black lion that constantly changes size with nobody noticing. That was also known as Voltron 1, but there were 3 series. The third was like the 3 Centurion robots that merged their bodies into one 6-armed matchup. So this week, you can either agree that Vehicle Voltron was the best of all or be wrong. There will be no questions. And the toys were the best for this one.
It's true. I've still got mine. Still got the original orange sticker up on the corner of it from Toys R Us. That sucker was like $60, I think. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Oh my,
It was expensive.
that much?
It was
Back then,
expensive.
that's, oh
Well,
my God.
it was 15 little individual guys that
Uh-huh.
you could build the air, land, and sea collections, which was five of the little machines put together, and then take them back apart again, and then reconnect them all into making the one big Voltron robot.
Yeah, but in today's dollars, that's like $300.
It was expensive, man, and I've still got it.
Dang,
I
dang. I wonder
I've
what
still
it would
got it.
sell for on eBay.
I don't know because I don't care. It's mine.
Yeah, it's yours, but it would be interesting just to see,
That's true.
just to find out without selling it, just to peep.
Yeah, we could look that
I
up.
do that on some of my books. Sagittarius. Main theme for
Uh,
Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Huh? What?
it's my turn.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't think
Did
you
not
are.
mean to step on you, sir.
Sagittarius. The main theme for Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Is iconic. It's been the basis for so many sequels that we have lost track. But this isn't your track. No, this time, it's a background track called Jinkies. Yeah, all the backgrounds are available to listen to on YouTube if you go hunting just a little bit. And the names are all just perfect. So this week, yes, there was even a track specifically for the hallway door chase scenes. If you think you're trying to catch something that elusive, just stop and let the solution come to you.
Capricorn. The guy who sang the Senses song from Animaniacs, a one Rob Paulson, just loves singing it at conventions he's invited to. You remember the song, and one of the most famous is Yakko's Nations of the World, which has been updated over the years. So this week, the Senses song got it right the first time, though. A sense of dread, of balance, of time. They were masterful. Be that good and get it right the first time.
Yeah, that song was really great. It was so much, okay, yeah, you can see things, you can touch things, you can taste them, sure. What about the sense of time? Sense of dread? No, I wasn't stressed before I was listening to this song. Thanks, guys. Aquarius. This one came through the collection errantly. We're going to be damned if we're going to stop it. The song comes from the fan video, quote, Luna's Banishment Deep Edition. But the song in question is Paris, France by Jean-Jacques Perret. It's an all-electronic song made with actual analog synthesizers. So this week, with only 3 sound forms, you can get all kinds of music out of those synths. Try it sometime.
Pisces. We'll make this one simple. Pepper Ann from Disney. That is all. So this week, do you remember this one? We don't either. So just keep doing what you're doing. You're fine.
Yeah, I mentioned I was running out of time and I had to cut corners, but it turned out that was actually the one that came through the shuffle, and it really was exactly that easy. Those are your horrible scopes for the week. Remember, if you like what you got, you didn't ask for it, so you know what? You got what you paid for. But if you would like to pay for it, you can do that by hitting me over on Coffee and giving me some fungible assets, because you don't need all of them. And I do. You can find that over at coffee.com/Icarus the Lunar Guard. I'll have these posted at the end of the week as usual. Tumblr, Facebook, Coffee, Discord, BlueSky, because that's the way it works, and it's a good thing that way. Good thing that way. This is episode 571, The Docket Runner. Let's all go to the mall. It doesn't exactly have the same lilt there, does it? Yeah.
Oh, might want to listen to Robin Sparkles.
Yeah. So the National Mall here in the United States, in our capital, Washington D.C. It's supposed to be, by design, a reflecting pool. The idea was basically just to have something that you could stand at the foot of, doesn't matter which way you're facing actually, and just look forward across it and have the rest of the world reflected in it. And it would give you a perspective of just seeing that even with what you would normally see from the horizon up, there's so much more beyond it. What seems to be under it, that's actually still part of what you're supposed to be looking at anyway. As a piece of art, I think that's really wild. And it's an amazingly subtle gift for people to look at, to be inspired, to realize how much more there really is that's going on with just a look. So, over the last couple of weeks, Herr Fuhrer put out a no-bid contract. He called in his swimming pool guys, and they took the water out of it, and they repainted the bottom. What was supposed to have been flag blue, and they were going to refill it with water so that it would be a beautiful blue all the time. Small, itsy-bitsy tiny problem with that is that the color that was chosen, because it's not a very deep reflecting pool, because it doesn't need to be, absorbs a lot of solar radiation. And when you absorb radiation, you need to then get rid of it eventually. That's heat. And since it's all enclosed in water, that heat then goes into the water, which then becomes an incredible breeding ground for things like... What's that word that I'm looking for here? What's the word?
I don't know. Several words. It's obnoxious.
What's growing in it?
Technical term? Algae?
That's you had me worried there for a second that we were gonna get ourselves thrown off the air even before I quit the show.
Pudgy green pond scummy shit.
Okay, just because you're accurate doesn't mean that you're allowed to get away with this the whole time. Just nice and easy there, Annie Oakley.
Well, it's getting worse.
Yeah.
I mean, at first there was blue-green algae, which was bad enough. But then with dumping in of all of the hydrogen peroxide on the edges
Which in and
and
of
making it
itself is just, why would you ever do that knowing full well that humans, never mind humans, any animals are going to be right nearby it?
for a couple of days, it kind of resembled a not moon, mood ring,
Oy.
where it was kind of bluish green on the edges and then yellow brown and in the middle and all sorts of weirdness.
Yep.
And I can't remember the specific thread that was on BlueSky. I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before, but it was an actual professional who does water treatment science for a living. Said that part of the problem was there's too much nitrogen in the water, which is a rich environment you have for algae. But the hydrogen peroxide was killing off the blue-green algae and creating a super bloom of the green algae, which is what we have now.
What makes that even worse is that the stuff that they were pouring in wasn't the stuff that's like 3%. They're using stuff that would otherwise be caustic to the
12%.
skin.
Yeah, 12%. Yeah.
And because of that,
That would that would probably eat off the paint on its own.
funny enough, I do believe that you would be right. Wow, look at that. We finally come around to that piece that we started off with. Which, by the way, now I can finally get you over this, because Stephanie had said earlier, that I kind of bypassed at the time, told you I'd get around to it. Swimming pool? It is a swamp, quite appropriate when you consider who is in the White House. I almost said shithouse.
Same thing.
Currently, yes. But no, you're exactly right. The stuff is literally
A swamp.
destroying the paint, which the paint itself shouldn't have been there in the first place, because that's not what the biggest problem is. The biggest problem is the friggin' pipes that are
Mm.
actually feeding into it and feeding out of it again, which, again, they're trying to use just a pump that's dumping the water out of the pool into a nearby storm drain of some sort, which I have to believe is just all kinds of bad and probably illegal for a number of reasons, question mark. Don't take legal advice from this podcast at all. I'm just wondering about the legality of dumping, 12% hydrogen peroxide down a storm drain. It's just a thing.
Well, I mean, if we still had a functioning EPA,
Not a functioning anything. I
but
can't
I
I can't
just I
say.
can't believe I just don't know why he got this dumbass idea to do this because it's not a swimming pool. It's not supposed to be a swimming pool.
Oh, we know exactly why.
Well, I
It
mean,
wasn't
besides
be,
Griff.
it wasn't because of the legacy of having done it. It wasn't because he thought it was going to be prettier. He was making sure that somebody that he knew was going to do the job and then get stuck with a bill. But that means that they have to curry favor with him in order to get paid because that's the way he's always done everything. You want to get paid? Do something nice for me. I don't care that you just did something that you were contracted for. I'll pay you when I'm ready. Do something good for me. You weren't kissing my ass enough? Well, you can wait another 3 weeks. Maybe I'll pay you then.
Or the ironic thing is the company that was contracted to do this is called Greenwater.
Uh, I'm going to repeat what you wrote, but I would very much like for you to please just double check that you got that right. Forgive me. I'm saying because what Stephanie wrote is the paint is actually the stuff used on the beds of pickup trucks to protect them from damage. It is not suitable for submersion.
Mhm.
I would believe you for exactly because of the way that this all played out. The reason why I have hesitancy of believing it directly, and again, personal, is because this group of guys, assuming that they otherwise would know their stuff on how to coat the bottom of a swimming pool, theoretically, I can't imagine that that stuff would be less expensive to use than actual latex paint, which is what I think it is. Because I mean that would seem to be the cheapest thing. So use the cheapest thing that you can find because of course you can.
Hmm.
Whatever the hell it was that was put in there, it's just wrong. Have you seen, by the way? Have you seen the pictures of the pool, the reflecting pool, from subsequent pictures from near the top of the Washington Monument, looking down on it?
Recent ones?
Well, I I'm gonna have to
I
find
mean,
the
since the paint job.
well since it happened, yes, or just before it, and how it subsequently got worse and worse looking, and then the bloomin' algae and all that stuff, and just bad. It is so bad. And Stephanie is confirming. Been reported from several sources. It is cheap and readily available. I stand corrected and ready to believe you. It feels like it should be something that's Not as expensive, but at the same time, I'll admit, hell do I know. You know, I don't even know. I don't freaking get this. How? I mean, it's a rhetorical question. How, how can he do this? How could it be let to be happening? And I know full well laziness, because were the Senate actually doing what it's supposed to be doing, never would have happened. Never would have happened. And yeah, son of a bitch decided that he was going to have the National Guard guard it and investigate to try to find out who has been ripping up pieces of this paint job so that they can take it, presumably. I mean, I'm all for people wanting to take, something to prove that they were somewhere, even if just for themselves. But calm the hell on. I mean, a pebble. I can understand that. A little vial of beach sand. Okay, sure. Um, uh, 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 a lily pad sized flake of cheap ass bed liner in blue with who only knows what levels of biological contamination on it? No. I don't get it.
No, he's planning on making an even bigger mess, and it just pisses me off.
And everybody
Um,
else.
and I just went blank on the name of the freaking building.
The arch,
I mean, that's another one, but
the
uh,
ballroom. Yeah,
the
I'm gonna get away with saying it really quickly. Motherfucker wants a secure place to hold parties in, and yet he went to like Madison Square Garden with who only knows how many people that would gladly put a tire iron in the back of his skull as look at him with virtually no appreciable security nearby. Yeah.
I'm Googling real quick because I know the build. Oh, yeah, that's it. I'm waiting for him to start painting the Eisenhower building. That's the one that's in granite that he wants to paint white over granite.
Excuse the shit out of me. What now?
Paint does not stick to granite, but he's going to
Um,
paint it anyway.
um, begging the Colonel's pardon. It can.
What can
If
paint it? The paint will slide right off unless it's sandblasted first.
tell me, in all honesty, that you think that that would be a bridge too far.
What, for him to do that? Oh, he's gonna. He
You
doesn't
know,
like the gray color, but excuse me, granite is gray. That's just the way that it is.
and gold leafing, gold gilding a number of statues in the DC area. Why?
Well, I guess for the same reason he was trying to used super glue to glue gold medallions on the Mabel marble mantle, in the White House. I mean, I don't know.
Get this. Really don't.
He wants to turn DC into a bordello, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I haven't checked, but I don't know what the statistics are for Grindr in Washington, D.C. when Congress is in session, but I mean, sure. And before anybody starts getting on my shit for that one, yeah, look at the numbers for Grindr whenever the conservative groups get together for their conventions, the Republicans get together for their conventions. I'm not going to bring the Democratic side into it because, well, they're not the ones who are saying that, oh, all this gay stuff is just icky. It shouldn't even be a thing. But I mean, $20 is $20, so I'll suck a dick for you.
Oh, when the Democrats happen to go to conventions, they don't crash the website. Just saying.
All
Grindr
things
does
considered, that's
crash
actually kind of a
whenever
badge of honor, I think.
well, I mean, Grindr does crash whenever these things occur in conservative circles.
Oh yeah.
That's true.
Oh, Stephanie's also pointed out, and rightly so, by the way. This was great. The Kennedy Center, they put up a whole lot of scaffolding and hung a massive tarp so no one could video the letters coming down because they were removing the current president's name specifically set above the John F. Kennedy because petulant child that is. Someone snuck in a camera. Not all heroes wear capes, and not everybody who's doing God's work believes in a God. Just saying. You know, it's good to know that his name was coming down off of that. That they've been ordered by the courts to fix placards that explain contextually about different groups of people because they wanted them gone. Restore funding to a couple of smaller organizations because they're supposed to have the funding. And yet we still have to go through this whole rigmarole because they're gonna play the long game. All right, you're right. We should really do that. That's fine. Oh, you didn't tell us when we needed to do that by. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's only been a month. Yeah, let's you guys go ahead, put together a resolution and sign off on it and then we'll make sure that I get it taken care of. In 3 weeks afterwards. The standard boilerplate stuff. At which point it's going to be oopsie, completely blew past me. Oh, darn it, just didn't know where the time went. I guess you'll just have to do it again. And again. And again. Because even the courts are a feckless wonder.
Yeah, I mean, over at the JFK Memorial Arts Center, Performing Arts Center, the tarp is still up. And even though a judge has ruled that the center will not be shut down for 2 years for remodeling or whatever, uh, this regime is like, well, we don't care what you said. We're still going to shut it down and remodel. So that was the word late last night. So,
And it doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't.
well, there's no enforcement mechanism. I mean, what are they going to do?
Now, theoretically, the courts are supposed to be able to send out their own.
Marshals.
That's right. I was trying to think of what the right term is. I, I guess marshal
I
would
mean,
probably
they
be
could have
the best,
U.S. Marshals come in and enforce it, but they're not.
because for some reason they're kind of under the auspice of the executive, or at the very least that's their claim,
Hmm.
which in and of itself is another level of bullshit. But that's just me. What do I know? So where's the bottom in all of this? I mean, we're starting to see a couple of court cases here and there that are actually, pushing back even the most basic and barest of. But there is some measure of, nah, you really shouldn't be doing that. So, yeah, don't do that. Because, I don't have any idea anymore.
I don't either,
Where's
and
it
I'm going
going?
to throw an extra one out there for you that has nothing to do with art and beautification. You know, this whole Iran war that we supposedly won? Ha ha ha. Well, on Axios Friday, as part of an interview, guess who's next?
Who's,
Cuba.
I'm sorry, what now?
Cuba.
Oh, right.
And why? Because Cuba will be easier than Iran. Yes, he said that.
Yeah.
There's video
Well,
of him saying that. That is his rationale. Cuba will be easier, so we're going to do Cuba.
that's going to work about as well as
Hmm.
the whole idea of watching this boy try to open an 8-year old girl's personal diary with a little lock on the front that wouldn't hold up to the scrutiny of fingertips trying to open it up. Yeah, he's not gonna know what to do with himself if you were to get it open. I'm not gonna begin standing.
Which is, I don't even know what to do with any of this anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a certain point where we would be looking at it all and basically laugh at the absurdity of it. But we've gone past the level of even nervous amusement. It's just full blown panic at this point. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. I don't
No,
know.
it's not easy. This is scary. He's not well. He's dangerous.
And the last
And if
time
they
out, he was taught there nobody's going to stop him.
hmm and so far he's been right. So
And that's something that I've very much noticed. How much of a difference there was between the last time he was in office and hearing the stories about how people wanted to feed him, me, and figuratively speaking, I should say, feed his ego. Where I was trying to get to, kind of short circuited. Sorry about that. People want to feed his ego, and I don't understand the why. They have to know, like you said, what kind of a mental I don't even know what the right term for it would be. Mentally inefficient. Delinquent, even. I have to know that this whole thing is just a farce. And it's so much so that we can't even joke about how bad it is because it is just so that bad.
Well, it's destructive.
I'm sure the East Wing would love to have a chat with you about that, except, oopsie, look at that. It has no uvula left. And I don't even. Why? What possible good is coming out of this whole damn thing?
Handful of people are making a lot of money.
A handful of very specific individuals are, yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just a piece here and a piece there, or at least it was the first time out. And since he wasn't literally smacked down when they had the opportunity, so now he's just realized there's nothing they can do about it. Feckless wonders that they are. Now, here we are with this bullshit. I wish I understood it. Wish I understood this.
I don't. I mean, the whole idea to me of even having a cage match at the White House is humiliating.
You
I mean,
know,
there is
idiocracy. Sorry.
some decorum, that went with the office. And, even I was guilty of thinking, um, I don't know how to put this, during his first term, it wasn't, I was thinking, I was hoping that when he assumed the role, he would act a little more presidential, but that never
Oh,
happened.
there was a number of people who thought exactly the same thing. I I do not believe that I was one of them. And I'm saying that from the standpoint of I don't think that I even had that cognitive as something that would make any kind of sense to me. So I wouldn't have thought that it
It
was
didn't
even a
make
good.
it's not that it made sense, it was more like, keeping my fingers crossed that it might. I guess that's a better way to put that.
Yeah, there were still adults in the room,
Uh-huh. It's the only thing that saved us the first time from this now,
and now there aren't.
'cause I had this 10 years ago, and, oh my god. If this had been allowed to go on during his first term, we wouldn't have had Joe Biden, and we would probably be having a 3rd term here of Trump.
Yeah, and
That
again,
would not surprise me.
I don't know how that could even be. I don't understand how that could even be argued. Not at all.
But how it can be argued that we would be in his 3rd term
I mean,
if his first.
I know what one of the arguments would have been. And for those that don't know about it, there was one that was floated around that said supposedly the wording is fairly ambiguous enough that they could say, well, a third term could be had because the amendment makes it sound like you know, your entire presidential term would be the back-to-back 2 years and 4 years.
Yeah, I didn't say legally, Shu. I just
Oh,
said
I know,
if there
I
had
know.
been no adults in the room the first time, and as we can see now, SCOTUS is going to be of no help, no help. Um, what would have stopped it?
And at this point, I forgive me for quibbling hairs at this point. It's not even so much that they're going to be no help. They're going to be actively harming,
Mhm.
which is in and of itself its own thing. But I don't I simply cannot fathom how we are where we are with all of this. And I'm saying that because again I heard some other podcasts say, back in 1976, the bicentennial, everybody was having a great time of it. Everybody found something worthwhile. The country was doing great because everybody was sharing stuff, and maybe it was language, maybe it was culture, maybe it was food. And then now here we are, and what have we got to show for it? The gladiator matches on streaming services, but the only way that people can see it if they want to participate is to have an account with said streaming service. Because just because it's on the mall, on the national mall, doesn't mean that it's covered nationally on broadcast radio or television, because that would be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, especially since this was quote unquote for the country.
Exactly. If it was for the country, put it on PBS. Seems
Exactly.
simple. I really wish I had a better idea on where is the bottom. Where is finally the bottom for the whole damn thing? Because I don't even know what it would be, where it would be.
We still have 2.5 years to go, Shujin.
I know.
Uh,
I am going to have divots in the within the first inch between where the edge of the table is here for my desk. An inch in is going to be nothing but recessed claw marks from my hand, trying desperately upon desperately to not rip my fingernails out, just so I could feel something that made sense.
well, that's better than what I'm doing. I'm doing that to my palms, which is not good. Maybe I should do it on inanimate objects.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea. It's not the best of ideas.
Mm. I did have to appropriate a phrase that I ran across tonight on BlueSky, and I have to give proper attribution from where I swiped this from. But courtesy of Stephen Beschloss, or is it Beschloss? Beschloss. He came up with a new term for this memorial pool that is the subject of our show tonight. Instead of the reflecting pool, he has renamed it to the refracting pool. I thought that was a good one.
Annoying that it is that he pretty well nailed it. I have no idea of anything that I could follow that up with because, damn, just got it completely
He
right.
nailed it.
Yep.
Yep, he nailed it. And so, and I let him know that I was going to be borrowing that for tonight, and that I would give proper attribution, and I did.
The man, I don't even, I don't even know what word to be using at this point for him. He's a menace to society. And how anybody of any political leanings whatsoever, don't care which way, or if really at all, how these people just do not, how they don't lean over at somebody that's going to order something, that's get a drink order at night for the rum and cokiest piece of crap drink at a bar, but it's got a Trump name on it. Why aren't these people getting stopped by their loved ones? Why aren't they being pulled back from this? I know my brain is kind of piecing together a couple of extra pieces and not getting them out my face to explain where I'm going. I'm sorry. Just, we had fun. 1976. I remember wearing shorts. Right near the end of my school year, and I was what, 7, and we were having a fun time. We were learning songs. We were, some of the older kids were setting up, fun games. It was going to be an amusement time. We learned about the we learned about the early history of the flag and what it was there for, and all the different pieces, and the whole thing's just been turned into. I can't even call it a farce. It's so far out of left field. How, even if the adults are not in the room, how these sports performers could allow themselves to go and jump up monkey, do a dance for us for $1. How they could find it in them to do that? It's just,
It's debasing.
it's like every possible avenue to pull all this shit back from the edge just isn't there, or is so inefficient and so non-functional as to even why bother it being there. Is there a bottom? Is there a bottom to all this shit? And who's going to be the one to find it? I'm very much, I'm very much not even sure how this is going to play. We got people refusing to do the safety jobs of the country. We've got people overstepping their authority to prevent troublesome people from doing things, but then completely bypassing it to deal with something else that makes literal zero sense. Where's the even keel? Where's the attempt to try to make life easier for everybody? And I really wish I could get a handle on understanding why people would be doing these or not doing them. Somebody needs to have a friggin' dope slap machine attached to their arm. Clear out the rambunctious idiots who don't know how to do a friggin' job. Again, I'm sorry. I know that there are bits and pieces that I'm saying where I know that they're disjointed because I can't get all of the pieces out of my face so that it all makes complete sense for everybody. I'm just hoping that the pieces that I'm forgetting to get out there actually are obvious enough. You know, I don't sound like a complete fraud tonight. I don't even know how we're supposed to do it. And I mean collectively. The hell? What? What can we possibly? Because on top of that, they've got an entire was an army base, air force base, where so many people were not obligated to take a vaccine, and now the
Yeah, my
entire
old stomping grounds. Yeah, I
and
was
now the entire
stationed
base.
there. I was stationed there. Yeah, and for people who don't know, because Pete Hegseth decided that, oh, we're not going to do flu vaccines anymore because uh, war fighters don't need any flu vaccines because bodily autonomy or some crap. Um, Apparently, flu showed up at one of the training wings at Lackland Air Force Base, and 160 people, give or take, ended up getting the flu. And some guy that was in his 6 week of training died. So, how about that? He was inpatient for 5 days and didn't make it. And my question is how it even got into a training wing in the first place, unless like a training instructor brought it in or they picked it up in the chow hall from a civilian worker or something like that. Because, people that are in their 6th week of training do not go off base for anything. And incubation period is a lot shorter than 6 weeks. And so a trainee did not bring it in with them.
Probably. Now, I'm
Well,
saying that because it's plausible for it to be very lightweight, just holding its own in somebody's body before somehow or other eating into somebody else nearby, who then tells 10 friends, and they tell 10 friends, and so on and so on. It's
but
not
not
likely,
very
admittedly.
likely because
No,
of the way that the
admittedly.
training wings are set up. You're isolated to a barracks. You move as a flight to and fro. Um, and even generally at meal times, you wait, you go in a flight at a time, you eat and you leave. The only time that you would really have any intermingling would be at church on Sunday,
Which is doable.
which is doable, but most of the time getting to and fro is spent outside. So, I mean, it's the only place that it could have spread would be at church, but you generally don't have, all those people shoved together in one place because there's too many trainees and the spaces are only so big. And so they do church like in shifts. if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Because, like, if you go to the Catholic services, there's only 60 chairs. No, when I went, there were only 30 chairs per Catholic service. So, and there's usually, was it 50 people on a flight or was it 60?
Couldn't tell
I
you.
don't remember off the top of my head. But, the flights move together as a unit, and you don't usually have everybody commingled, especially at week 6. Now, at week 12, you would, if you're getting ready for graduation, for parade practice and stuff, where you have all the different flights getting in formation, but there's very little contact. So I'm kind of wondering how it got in.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, if it was like the first week or two, then I could see somebody, a new recruit bringing it in and spreading it through flight that way. But I don't know. It's just something I've wondered how. But the fact that it happened, um, I thought that they were supposed to be all about readiness and military preparedness, and that was the rationale given on this. And it's like, so what is this doing for your readiness? People knocked off their asses with the flu. That doesn't seem very, you know, military ready to me.
Yep.
And they took readiness so seriously when I was in that even something like having braces was a no-go because that would keep you from being worldwide qualified to, take off at a moment's notice and go, you know, fulfill the duty assignment. Because if you're out in the middle of nowhere, you can't get your braces,
No.
maintained. So, yeah,
Yeah. Stephanie's also pointed out, I thought flu was airborne.
it is.
But at this point, I don't believe that there are any face mask obligations at this point. Because of
There's
course
not.
there weren't.
But even if it is airborne, if you have flights passing each other on base, they're hundreds of yards apart. Flu doesn't spread that far outside. It's just not possible.
Wild. It is
It's like when we marched
absolutely.
across space, if we had other flights, they were the equivalent of like a block ahead of us, which is a good distance.
I
We didn't know anybody from any other wings. We were that isolated.
and the only ones that you're going to have any kind of interaction with, if even that, is whoever it is that's serving at the mess.
Exactly. That's why I was thinking either a training instructor brought it in or somebody, a civilian worker at the town hall. That's the only two ways that I could see it happening.
None of which are good possibilities, of course. By the way, Lexa did see you over there. I really wish, really, really wish we could come up with anything that makes any sense out of all this shit. There, I want to say there really isn't a reason, but there is, and it sucks. And it's just everybody getting fed their extra money off of everybody else because they can make that work. That's what it's all come down to, in it, or at least seemingly so.
Well,
RFK Jr.'s got a job, and I just realized where's where's the first lady been? It's been weeks, Haven't seen hide in her hair. Not even so
Well,
much as a homemade porno of her. Sorry.
well, you're not going to. She doesn't want to be seen, and the only time she comes out is when she's paid to come out. There are certain contractual obligations that are in her prenup, and those are the only ones that she shows up for because she's obligated. But on a, I don't know if you would call it a happier note, um, I'm just glad that in 2010, um, there was that, what was it called? A Reason rally that the American Atheist put on in 2010.
Huh?
My daughter and I got to go up to DC for that, and I was able to take her, to the reflecting pool and the Washington Monument and all that, and get some pictures. I don't know where the pictures are. They're somewhere, but at least she got to see it as it used to be.
Good job.
And I'm so grateful that she had that opportunity to see it. She doesn't remember too much from, back then. She vaguely remembers it, but at least she was there.
Good on you thinking ahead like that.
Yeah.
You just
I've got those memories. Yeah, that was the third trip to DC, but I'm so glad that I was able to see it. And I'm so glad that I got the chance to go to Arlington twice. Um, and the whole thought of that hideous arch just pisses me off. And
and to
yeah,
think
there's
that
a group of
somebody's
veterans that are suing to keep that down. I don't know if they will be successful or not, but at least some veterans are on it because it's offensive.
not to mention that there are people who have tried to see about being in contact with the FAA
Oh yeah,
to
it's a flight hazard.
because it'll be a flight hazard as big as it is. Yeah. So much I don't get, and it just boggles my mind. Admittedly, I'm tired, but more so, I'm just I
It
don't
is
even know.
mind-boggling. It
I'm sorry.
is, and it is mind-boggling, and it's like, how can his cult members be okay with this? I just don't understand it. It is not okay.
No, it's not. And if it's not okay with the general populace, I have to imagine that Congress knows full well that they need to be doing something, so that they either are doing something worthwhile and we just don't know about it. Possible. Or option B, they're just not doing something or anything. And it's hard to know which one it is. I know this has been a hell of a lot more of just a bitch fest than anything else. Trying to make heads or tails out of this colossal clusterfuck. Do I care right now that I use that term? Right now, no.
No, no.
Because you call it like it is. Oh, it's an indelicate word. Sorry. Am I wrong? So, yeah, we're going to have to be calling this. The biggest problem about the whole thing, and forgive me for cutting this a little bit short, is just that I was not expecting to become so incredibly mentally drained trying to be cognizant of all these different pieces all at once, trying to make heads or tails out of any of it.
Mhm.
I didn't want that to be the case. I sure as shit was not expecting it to be this, but again, as somebody keeps using the expression, and yet here we are.
I was ahead of you. I was. Timothy Schneider said so. That everything was going to be spectacle, and there was going to be so much crap coming through the fire hoses and all that it would just wear you down and overwhelm you and just beat you to a pulp. And
And I think
yeah, he was
that's
right.
I think that's a good portion of where I'm really close to right now.
Hmm. I mean, he wrote about this, I don't know, when did that book come out? I don't know, several years ago he wrote about that, and he's been hammering that, for the last, well, even before the inauguration, to be ready for it, be prepared for it, because this is the way it was going to be. And he was right.
Yeah.
I mean, it still doesn't help, but at least I knew it was coming. I'm not shocked. I'm angry. I'm disgusted,
Oh, right there with you.
but I'm not shocked. I expected it.
Tell you the
I
piece
wasn't
that
sure what it was going to look like, but I can tell you one thing. If I ever have money to go to Europe again at some point, well, not again. I've never been to Europe. I've been to Jamaica. I've been to Canada. If I ever go out of the country again and I have money, I'm going to be practicing, a Canadian accent, be fronting as a Canadian. There's no way in hell I'm going to tell anybody I'm from here.
I can't say as I blame you.
I have a lot of work to do on that accent, but
So, like I said, we're gonna call this just early. Um, really quickly before we go ahead and close up over here. Um, Alexa, who again, hi, glad you're able to make it. It's an accurate term for what we find ourselves in. Whatever that expression is for a sip from the fire hose. And Stephanie pointing out, I have found some young podcasters on YouTube. Bless your heart, but I don't think we can call ourselves that. But just thank you. Some young podcasters on YouTube who are very encouraging. For example, Adam Mockler.
oh, he's all over the place. He's been on all sorts of news channels and stuff. I mean, he's getting some FaceTime. Good on him. I love Adam.
Cool. I don't recall off the top of my head who that is exactly, but you know full well I'm going to be looking that up.
He
If I feel
looks
like
like he's about 22. I mean, he's got to be older than that, but really young looking guy. And when he first started doing YouTube videos, he would wear like a t-shirt and suspenders. But to see him on, like MSNBC and CNN, as a pundit now in a nice suit. I mean, Adam Wackler's all grown up. I'm so proud of him.
Being how I'm feeling at the moment, the show note versions for this guy and pointing everybody over to taking a look at some of this stuff. Yeah, we will save that for midday tomorrow as of the time of recording because, like I said, yeah, I'm tired, but I've also gotta go out in the morning. Yeah. Um. Any last real quick thing that you want to throw out there?
I don't think so. I was trying to decide between two people for my closing, and I'm conflicted.
Well, you think about it for a minute because you think about it this way: we didn't exactly have a show, so you could save up both of them. And
Yeah, one is like just a general, and one is like a personal.
I don't like it when it's too personal. Makes me
Well, it's not too personal, but it's hits home.
fair enough. I'll close it out then with just saying that as much as we are having a hard time of it, we're just average schmoes. We may seem like we've got a lot more information or the ability of communicating for ourselves and for the values of a whole bunch of others, but that we do it fairly well. Kinda, yeah, I suppose maybe, but it's not really what we're intending. We're intending to look at this stuff and just kind of figure out, okay, what's it come from? Cool. Maybe now we can understand how to deal with whatever the problem actually is. There's no real way of doing that because it's completely irrational. And I really wish that there was an adult still in that room to grab him by the collars of his jacket and try to test out to find out if he can actually slap some sense into that boy. Considering that that's the expression that I went with instead of something else otherwise, just trust me when I say this was the safest of all worlds. Thank you all for being with us. We hope that you I, we hope that you had yourselves a good time with us, and maybe you found something worthwhile to think about for the week ahead. Brigid, even if you don't even bother narrowing it down, we missed last week. So, what you got?
Uh, I've got two. One of them is Mike Kehoe. He is the governor of Missouri, or as we say down here, Missouri. And he gets a big fuck you because even though the people in Missouri voted to repeal all the abortion beds and all that horse crap, he has decided, well, since the judge knocked all this stuff down, I'm going to have it put back on a ballot in November and name it the same amendment number that was voted on prior to reinstate all the abortion bans because I'm an asshole. The second one is, a little closer to home, but I'm also going to give a big fuck you to Roku. I have used Roku for like 10 years now, and they have been acquired or bought or whatever by Fox News Corp. So that necessitated getting another stick to use in the house because we don't do pots around here.
Fair. So we're going to get on out. If you'd like to be in touch with us, of course, probably the best way is either over there on BlueSky or join us over in the Discord server. You won't get lost in the scrum, all right? How's that? Feel better about it. And again, if you all are feeling a little overwhelmed, we get it. We get it. Take your time. Do what you can. Don't do more than that. Most humiliating thing in the world, and how in the hell are you supposed to deal with that? I'll have the show notes updated tomorrow. As was mentioned, next Saturday, I will be doing a show for the Second Life birthday. It will be the Saturday morning cartoons again. I will put out group notices on BlueSky, and I'll have them on Facebook for whatever it's worth, and of course, over on our Discord. If you don't have an account Second Life, that's okay. If you'd like to listen in because you want to see what it's like, there will be a link so that you could just click on it and open the link with DLC. That's my usual recommendation. Or you can just listen through the website. Shouldn't be any kind of a problem. Past that, stay safe, stay healthy, drink your water, take your meds, and thank Space Mom while you're at it, because Space Mom is best Space Mom. I wish there was something more substantive to guys know about, but the whole thing's just a shit show all the way down. Trying to cope as best we can too. You're not alone. No. Stephanie, Lexa, you take care of yourselves. We will see you all hopefully next week. It's my intention at the very least. So until the next time we're together, as always, I wish you the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. My lady, 21 years? How did that time go? I'm still in love. Not today, Fujin. I love you. I miss you. You dream of me. Till the next time we're together, everyone. As always, good night.